y'all. So it's your legal bestie, attorney Simone, and this is another episode of Girl, Is That Legal? Y'all, on today's episode, we got two things we're going to get into. Kanye West and his confession that he's made today, as well as Mr. Shannon Sharpe and the lawsuit that Tony Busby has filed against him. So come on in here. Now, as you're joining us, let us know where you are watching from. F Your Feelings is watching from Toronto. All right, so we see that here. Let me get Tony Busby's statement up here while we got it. All right, come on in here. So I'm going to start with Kanye. We're going to get right into Kanye. Now, we know Kanye has been dealing with a plethora of mental health issues. He's been dealing with them for quite a while. But, that doesn't mean he gets to act a darn fool, as he has been. Here we go. But Kanye just revealed today in a tweet, I'm going to put it on the screen for you, in a tweet, that he was abusing. Here we go. Ooh, switch that up. Not him. We're going to get to Shannon next. Shannon will be next. There we go. Remove that one. I'll add this one. There we go. Kanye has revealed in a tweet that he assaulted one of his younger cousins. Specifically, he made a song called Cousins. And this is Kanye's tweet from this morning. This song is called Cousins, about my cousins that's locked in jail for life for offing a pregnant lady a few years after I told him we wouldn't, quote, look at dirty magazines together anymore. Perhaps in my self-centered mess, I felt it was my fault that I showed him those dirty magazines when he was 6, and then we acted out what we saw. My dad had Playboy magazines, but the magazines I found in the top of my mom's closet were different. In other words, G-A-Y. He said, my name is Ye, and I sucked my cousin's D until I was 14. Y'all, my name is Ye, and I sucked my cousin's D until I was 14. This is what he's revealed today. First of all, we need to get Wendy out that guardianship and probably put Kanye right up in there. If this is not enough to get him a guardianship, I don't know what is. And then what's also heartbreaking about this is he talks about this is pertaining to his cousin that's locked up in jail for life for killing a pregnant lady. And a lot of times people with anger issues that end up in prison, so many of them were abused as a child. So many of them. Here's what's real crazy, y'all. Kanye up here running his mouth as he is. Kanye maybe have walked himself right into a jail cell. Here's why. We all know Kanye West is from Chicago. Well, in the state of Illinois, there is no statute of limitations on what Kanye did. That's right. No statute of limitations. Let me read it for you. In Illinois, there is no statute of limitations for prosecuting S crimes, including criminal S assault, aggravated, and predatory assault if the victim was under 18 at the time of the offense. Well, Kanye admitted in this tweet that his victim was 6 years old. 6 years old when this started. So that means, according to this, charges can be brought against Kanye regardless of how much time has passed since the alleged offense. This change came into effect in 2019 after Illinois abolished the statute of limitations for S crimes. And to elaborate, there's no limit. Now, Cody is asking, but is he saying his cousin was 6 or the same age as him? No, this is what he said. Perhaps in my self-centered mess, I felt it was my fault that I showed him those magazines when he was 6. He was 6. We don't know how old Kanye was, but we know he was 6. I highly doubt, it doesn't matter if Kanye was 6 too, but I doubt it. And then it says, let me pull this off, Katie. But great question. Then it says, my name is Yi, and I did that until I was 14. It sounds like Ye was the aggressor, the perpetrator here, so to speak. She's the one said, I bet he's going to try and use his illness to get out of it. Oh, for sure. For sure. But no, this here now, one thing that may be a saving grace for Kanye is because his cousin is locked up for life, inmates don't want people to know that they have already been preyed on and abused in their life. So it's highly unlikely that this person would want to press criminal charges against Kanye for having done this, because when you're an inmate, you don't want to have to go to court, especially not as a victim for something like this, right? Where other people within the prison that you now have to live in for the rest of your life could potentially prey upon you, being like, oh, well, you let Kanye do this to you, you must be gay, or a plethora of other things. Nacindio asked, I wonder if they're not blackmailing him and he decided to out himself. No, this was too not unbridled, but this was too unhinged. This was not a strategic tweet. And I can't remember exactly what time he posted it, but I feel like it was pretty early in the morning or towards the middle of the night. But here's the thing. So I think it's unlikely that the cousin would press criminal charges, but he certainly could. However, what might be more likely are some civil charges. Kanye has millions. He absolutely could. So in Illinois, where they removed the statute of limitations for these offenses, so long as the victim was under 18 when it occurred, this applies also to the statute of limitations, meaning this victim, his cousin, could sue for millions. We've now got a confession. Sir, you know how much money you could put on your books? You know how much money you could get on your commissary? If you were to take Kanye to court on this, you actually might even be able to get a confidential settlement. You might be able to get a confidential settlement where it doesn't even have to go on the public record, where other inmates would even know that you are the one that's been referred to. So, sir, I don't know if you can watch me from your jail cell or maybe your cousin or loved ones watching, but I can pair you with an attorney that would happily represent you in a civil lawsuit against Kanye if you are one of his victims. My heart goes out to his family, and also the fact, gosh, his poor mother's legacy, because the implication was that this was gay word rhyme that rhymes with corn, right? And that it was found in his mama's top drawer. So what are you trying to say about Miss Donda? I mean, Kanye is getting more and more ill. MD said, I can't understand the purpose of him putting this out. Y'all hit that like button. Also, don't forget, you can always go to here we go. Hit that like button. And then also, where'd it go? Here we are. You can always go to my page, SimoneRedwine.com. SimoneRedwine.com to schedule a consultation with me at SimoneRedwine.com. You click book or hire. A consult starts at just $149 for 30 minutes, and we will get you to justice. But child, y'all ain't nobody on here a child. My word. But it says, now Sweden has asked, could the cousin say part of the reason he committed his crime was a result of this family situation as a contributing factor? And could that also be used to get a lesser sentence? It is too late. It is too late. But I bet you in the sentencing phase, so for example, I don't remember if at the time, if at the time that person was up for the D penalty, right, for life, capital punishment, then what happens? Because I used to be an attorney that worked on pro bono capital punishment cases where I was working to either, if someone got the death penalty and it was and applied unfairly, I would work to try and get their sentence commuted to life. One of the things we do is you put on what's called mitigation evidence during the sentencing phase, only during the sentencing phase. And during that phase, you pull out all the horrible stuff that the defendant has been through in their life to kind of give the court room to give mercy or grace, to basically say, hey, if they hadn't experienced all that, they probably wouldn't have been this bad of a person. So give them a little grace here. So if this was known to his lawyer, that would have been the time for his lawyer to pull that info. But sometimes I'll have to say, sometimes male defendants won't let you talk about that. They will not let you mention it. So it really just depends, but that is an excellent suggestion. Yep. And don't forget, you can go to my website here, get my book, or schedule a consult. Yeah. Sweet Tea says, maybe he's cleaning himself out for the divorce, applying for a civil suit. Oh, their divorce is final. The divorce with Kim is final. Now, what he's about to do is about to have custody revoked. If I were a mom, I want to hear your thoughts in the chat. If you were the mother of Kanye's children, would you be? I would need an emergency hearing to use this to show how unhinged my ex-husband is, and use that to say, under no circumstances should he have unsupervised visitation with my children. And honey, that little Northwest can be just as mad at me as she wants to be, but baby girl, this is for your safety, because I cannot trust his judgment of who he will or will not subject you to. I mean, it was alleged that they were going to expose North was going to be around the Tate brothers, taking him somewhere around the Tate brothers. I wonder if Kim will go for full custody. So I'm sure she's going to go for supervised. Okay. Thank you, Bap, for clarifying. Bap was wondering, could they bring this out for the divorce against Bianca? It's irrelevant. So here's the challenge. His little divorce with Bianca is being handled under California law. California law does not take infidelity. They don't take fault into consideration. So you can cheat on your wife 75 times. California divorce law says we don't care. We don't care. And we are going to separate the assets pursuing to traditional California law, which could be 50-50, or there could be other variations, whereas other states like Texas take fault into consideration or wasting of family assets and could use that to separate. But yeah, Bianca is running. See, allegedly Bianca wanted him committed because he was so out of it. He refused. And so Bianca felt her only choice was to leave him because he was acting such a fool. And she was right. Anybody who behaves as him, how do you know he's not going to get ticked off and become violent? Now, I've never known. Well, no, I can't say that. I was about to say I haven't heard of him becoming violent, but the alleged assault accusations against him by prior female coworkers, imply that he certainly could be. I mean, if you're touching people inappropriately, yeah. Oh, yeah. Lucy Jane, I fully believe as well. It's that Kim is probably in a discussion with a lawyer right now for full custody. And I do that. If I had that kind of money, I sure would. Oh, thank you, Cabritha. Thank you. My brother got the best legal advice ever. She is the real deal. Talk about me. If you need legal advice, book or hire Simone. My brother got the best legal advice ever. She's the real deal. Thank you. But if Ye is abusing, Cody's over here. Cody's over here. Where's my gavel? Speaking facts. Cody has said, but if Ye is abusing another child at 10, that clearly shows that Ye was victimized before. I agree. So generally it's that. It can also be that they were prematurely exposed to those kinds of things. But I'm with you, Cody. I'm with you. We got another question. Soden Tears says, how could a parent like Kim communicate something like this to their children so that they don't hate her for trying to keep him from their dad? So what I would communicate is your dad's not well. And because he's not well, the visitation you're going to have, maybe it'll be an aunt. So when you have supervised, it doesn't have to be a social worker. It could be a relative you both agree on. The problem is, I think Kanye is so unwell that for him, it's about control. And he wouldn't let anyone that Kim would select be the one to supervise the custody. Wouldn't a 1 hour wave around Kim's reputation if one party was normal? Yes, but both are in Hollywood. Let's see. Peace and blessings, Houston. Red balling from the beginning. Yep, Simone, consultation, awesome. Thank you. Simone, Kanye can't be acting out because of being violated by someone else. Yeah, it doesn't make it okay. It certainly doesn't. But it appears in this that Kanye is admitting to being the aggressor in this situation. So it says, my Chicago cousins said when they broke into West Slacker, is that a school? He had nothing but heavy metal, dark whips, and chains of women. He was weird in high school. They left him alone because it was scary. Is West Slacker a high school, girl? Then my cousin said when they broke into West Slacker, I don't know what West Slacker is, but that Kanye apparently had nothing but heavy metal, dark whips, and chains of women. He was weird. He's always seemed odd. All right. So that's it on Kanye. Now we're moving along to Shannon Sharpe, y'all. Shannon Sharpe, y'all. Lord have mercy. All right. So Mr. Shannon Sharpe, Tony Busby and the Busby Law Firm has just filed a lawsuit against Mr. Shannon Sharpe. And in this lawsuit, here we go. In this lawsuit, Tony Busby is suing Shannon Sharpe for that's right, $50 million, alleging assault on behalf of his Jane Doe victim. Let me add this to the stage. Yeah. Let me add this one. Here we are. And here we are. All right. Now let me read this one for you. All right, Mr. Busby says, late last night, the Busby Law Firm filed a civil suit on behalf of a brave young woman who alleges she was brutally assaulted by Shannon Sharpe on multiple occasions, the last incident occurring January 2025. The lawsuit, filed under the pseudonym of Jane Doe, lays out a pattern of intimidation, manipulation, and abuse, including allegations that Sharpe repeatedly threatened to choke and slap her. The case seeks $50 million in damages. Hold on, y'all. There we go. Oh, no, there's more to this. All right. $50 million in damages. Okay, here we go. Now it's scrolling. It also states that, the case is on file in Department 11 of this county. The egregious and concerning facts of the case are set forth in detail in the public filing. I'm extremely proud to represent Jane Doe. It takes a great deal of courage to stand against those with power, fame, and money. I look forward to pressing this case in court. Here's the thing. Now, Mr. Busby, at this point, I ain't believing nothing that's coming out of this man's mouth. I felt he did such a poor job of vetting the Jane Doe, the one that I said was slow a little bit, from Alabama. He did such a poor job of vetting her. I don't trust nothing he's saying right now. So but check this out. So somebody asked, I beat a shit ass, not Unc. Is that Michelle? Girl, Michelle was my first thought, but no, it's not Michelle. Who it is it's Gabby. It's Gabriella. Here is the statement from Shannon Sharpe's lawyer, y'all. We're going to read it together, and then we're going to break this down legally. All right. It's, quote, I want you to put a dog collar around my neck and choke me with it while you're effing me. Gabriella Zuniga, in a text message to Shannon Sharpe, October 7th, 2023. I know you missed this big, juicy ass. $25,000 for each cheek. Gabriella Zuniga, and a text message to Shannon, January 1st of 2025. This lawsuit, filed by Gabriella Zuniga and orchestrated by her attorney, Tony Busby, is a blatant and cynical attempt to shake down Mr. Sharpe for millions of dollars. It is filled with lies, distortions, and misrepresentations, and it will not succeed. In her effort to extract a large financial settlement, Ms. Zuniga presented Mr. Sharpe with a secretly recorded video of a consensual sexual encounter. We believe the video has been heavily edited and taken entirely out of context, crafted to falsely portray a consensual act as non-consensual. Ms. Zuniga has refused to provide a copy of the full unedited version of the recording to Mr. Sharpe's legal team. Now, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you want to give the full? It says to set the record straight, we are releasing several of Miss Zuniga's own explicit text messages to Mr. Sharpe that clearly indicate the nature of their relationship was consensual and in nature, and in many cases, initiated by her with specific and graphic requests. Contrary to the allegations she makes in her lawsuit, consensual S continued until January 2nd, 2025, the day after she asked for $25,000 per butt cheek, as quoted above from her text message to Mr. Sharpe. There are other examples of text messages from Miss Zuniga. For example, only if you put that baby gravy in me, then I could do whatever I want. You could, she probably meant you could do whatever you want to me. In other words, have unprotected sex with me, perhaps to get her pregnant. Then she'll let you do whatever you want to her. From her to him, November 23rd of 23. Then she says, I want to put my tongue in your butthole and then marry you. That was January 12th of 2024 from her to him. Then she says, that's my daddy. F, I want you to put a big black baby in me. Well, if that baby has his head, it'll definitely be a large one. A text from her to him, August 6th of 2024. She says, you better crave it because you're going to be stuck with it for life after you put a big black baby in me. She said this one, August 11th, 2024. Let me tell you something. After reading these, my first thought is, Shannon, how could you be so stupid? After the first one of these big black baby comments, shouldn't have been no more. It shouldn't have been no more. One of these, August 6th, crave it because you're going to be stuck with it for life after you put a big black baby in me. That sounds like a setup if I've ever heard one. August 6th, 2024. And yet it's still, you mess with this girl all the way, or at least communicate with her all the way into 2025. Sir, if that doesn't scream, run, Negro, run, I don't know what does. His attorney then says, in summary, these messages are just a sampling of a broader pattern of graphic communications initiated by Ms. Zuniga. The evidence paints a clear picture. This was a consensual adult relationship that included role-playing, sexual language, and fantasy scenarios explicitly requested by Ms. Zuniga. The edited tape that Ms. Zuniga secretly taped and showed to Mr. Sharpe during her blackmail attempt tries to falsely portray, as a result of this editing and out of context from prior text messages, that the sexual activity was not consensual. But Mr. Sharpe now believes her secret taping was all part of her plan set up as part of her blackmail scheme, and disoriented by her edited tape, and distorted by her edited tape, a copy of which she refused to make available to Mr. Sharpe or his counsel. Mr. Sharpe categorically denies all allegations of coercion or misconduct, especially the gross lie of the R word, and will not submit to what he sees as an egregious attempt at blackmail. He stands firmly by the truth and is prepared to fight these false claims vigorously in court. He looks forward to vindication through due process and a judgment based on facts and the law. Now, hold on. We got to go back. There's something that I peeped in this allegation. So we're going to add this back. Hold on. There's something that I peeped. We're going to go back to Busby's allegation. We're going to scroll up in this one. And what Mr. Busby says is that the lawsuit filed under Jane Doe lays out a pattern of intimidation, manipulation, and abuse, including allegations that Sharpe repeatedly threatened to choke and slap her. Hold on. All right, so we see that. We got the choke. But what did it say? This first text message said, I want you to put a dog collar around my neck and choke me with it while you're effing me. While you're effing me. Choke me. So is this the choking we're referring to? Mr. Busby, this is not this ain't looking good so far. This is not looking good so far. The other thing that I think about when we evaluate these accusations of victims is what I want to know, and I have not read the petition as of this time of this airing. It was not available when I went to pull it down from the system. But I'll tell you this. First thing I look at is the timeline of the accusations. If you're telling me he choked you in October of 2023, why are you communicating with him and trying to be intimate with him in 24 and 25? I have difficulty believing you were truly scared if you're asking him to do it again. Do it again. Order in the court. Do it again. Listen, girl, you're just a little nasty and a little freaky, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you might need to get a job, honey. You might need to get a job instead of trying to charge $25,000 a butt cheek. Okay? Now, I'm also disappointed in Shannon. Mr. Sharpe, I'm disappointed in you. Because the moment this girl tried to blackmail you for whatever amount by showing you this altered video pursuant to your attorney's statement, you should have filed suit against her. It is always better to be an offense than defense. So when I say I'm disappointed, I'm not saying he's done anything wrong yet as I'm assessing this. But what I am saying is the moment that she did that within 24 hours, you should have had your lawyers do as Jay-Z did, which was file it anonymously, you as John Doe. And you could either file it against her as Jane or you could file it with her actual name. But you should have went to the police, filed a police report, then filed a civil suit against her. Yeah, Felicia ask, why didn't she call the police instead of running to a lawyer? If you remember the ASAP Rocky case, in the ASAP Rocky case, ASAP's alleged victim, I forget that guy's name, Relly called a lawyer first. That lawyer said, I won't take your case unless you go to the cops. He made a police report and then it proceeded. We don't know. So what I'm saying here is we don't know whether or not she did make a police report. All we know is that the police have not picked up the charges. So, because generally what happens in a civil lawsuit is even if they have gone to the police and made a report, they don't ever reference it in the civil petition. Number one, it doesn't matter. But number two, it actually looks bad if you've gone to the cops and the cops don't press charges because they don't believe you or a variety of things there. So that might be why we haven't heard any reference yet of the police. Now, what I anticipate is there is a chance that if she did go to the cops and the cops said, nothing to see here, or we don't believe you, that Shannon Sharpe's attorneys may use that to say, hey guys, police didn't believe her. There's nothing to see here. There's no charges that were pressed. So that could kind of go either way there. So I just wanted to make sure I explained that part. Now, the other T of this is, y'all, I hadn't seen this before. The other T is that you saw Busby filed it as a Jane Doe. Shannon said, hell no, I need y'all to know it's Gabriella Zuniga. This is who did it. Boom, boom, pow. His lawyers are not playing. Here's what's interesting. Most don't do it because they don't want that risk. Most lawyers don't do it because they don't want that risk. If you recognize with Jay-Z, when Jay-Z filed his lawsuits, number one, he filed it as anonymous against Jane Doe and left her as a Jane, but named Tony Busby. I believe that when Jay-Z did that, he did it in part because his lawyers probably also assessed, as I did, that lady is slow. Something ain't right with the lady. She ain't wrapped too tight. And so her ability to consent to certain things is, widdly wonky. We don't know. He didn't have to do that, though. Here's how it works. Under the law, it is presumed that you must state your name when you are filing a suit. And that unless you have an order by the court that allows you to proceed as a Jane Doe, you got to give your name because the public deserves to know who's on each side, as do both parties. It's much harder as a defendant to defend yourself about a secret person. Let me tell you what's going to happen now. Now that Shannon done put Gabriella Zuniga's name on this internet, on Beyonce's internet, anybody who has dated Gabriella Zuniga in the last decade or two, somebody said she might be 19. I'm not sure how old the young lady is. Anybody who's dated her, anybody who's choked her, anybody whose ass has been choked, anybody who she stuck a finger or tongue or anything in their bottom hole is about to call up Shannon Sharpe's lawyers and help them out. They're probably going to call Shannon's legal team and say, let me tell you about this girl. She blackmailed me or tried to blackmail me, or all her dirty little secrets are fixing to come out because Shannon outed her. Now, again, under the law, because a judge has not made a ruling yet as to whether she is permitted to proceed as Jane Doe. A judge has also not made a ruling as to whether he has to refer to her as Jane Doe. Therefore, he's under no obligation to do so at this point, number one. And number two, notice, this is not a legal pleading. He responded with respect to her in a media press release. So even if a court were to say, regarding our court petitions, you need to have her remain Jane Doe, with respect to a press conference, he's totally allowed to give her name. Now, I anticipate Tony Busby is probably going to file some type of motion and say shame on him and want punitive damages and say, you know, this is just another attempt to victimize her and drag her through the mud. Okay, Justice said she was 19 when they met. Okay. Got you. Thank you so much, Justice. Oh gosh. RPC said Shannon liked them black chicks with the burrito. Was she black? I don't know. Zuniga sounds Hispanic, but I don't know. Well, I'm guessing she's not black because she keeps talking about she wants a big-headed black baby put inside her. I don't think she said big-headed. I added the head part, but a big black baby in her. Yes. Latrice, great question. Why is she filing civil charges and not criminal? My guess is because the cops wouldn't pick up the charges. Generally, you get the criminal going first and then you add civil. But again, that's not Tony Busby's strategy. Another reason, though, a lot of times why attorneys like Mr. Busby actually don't want you to file criminal. Oh, and I heard this actually with respect. I have spoken with some of the victims, alleged victims of Diddy, and they've been told by their respective attorneys, and I won't say which attorneys, they were discouraged from filing from filing criminal charges, because what happens is when criminal charges get going, at any time, a defendant can ask to stay the civil case until the criminal case is resolved. So it prolongs attorneys like Busby from getting their money because their case literally becomes on hold until the criminal case is resolved, which could take years. So that's why there are a number of civil lawyers who don't actually want you to go to the cops. Ain't that trifling? Ain't that trifling? So I'm not saying that was specifically what Busby told his clients. I'm not saying that, but I am saying I am aware of certain victims from the Diddy cases who are specifically discouraged from doing that. We know he's represented multiple of those victims, and that is not unusual with personal injury attorneys to give that advice and say, no, you can do criminal later, file it later after we get this money, because I don't want you postponing my coins. Oh, Tisa pulled up her IG. Okay, let's see. Let's see. There's a few, though. That's such a common name. Let's see if any images are up. I don't want to see. This is one, but I don't know if this is right. Let me see where this one lives. Hold on. Oh, see, this is exactly why I didn't want to put nobody's face up on here. Bless her little heart. This poor baby, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. I'm going to show it to you. This poor young lady here. What did it say? This is a cute little picture. Hold on. There it was. Okay, here it was. So it was a picture of a cute girl, and then I clicked it, and bless her heart, it was a public page. Oh, this is what it was. This is what it was. Hold on. So it was this, and then you click it, and this poor girl ends up having to change her page to say, I am not associated with Shannon Sharpe. I'm from Canada. Poor baby. They said, okay, I'm reading these comments. Hold on. These are really, really good. She looks Hispanic. She pulled up her RG. I don't know. Ronnie, was it the same one that I just showed a picture of? I don't know if you just saw it. I'm not going to put her picture back up there because this poor thing. Well, I guess I kind of will right here. Really cute. These are the different Gabriella Zanigas. Oop. She said, not her. Oh, let's see. Is this the same one or a different one? Yep, that's the same. She said, not me. Leave me alone. Not me. Oh, baby. And then we've got, see, there's like a bunch of people with this name. That's the same girl. This poor girl. Yeah, I don't blame you. I go private too. Shoot, the minute he put her on there. Okay, let me pull this down. Let me stop sharing this poor thing. But it says, I'm sorry, if someone violated me, put their behind in jail, run me my money later. I need you to be locked up. I agree, Latrice, because also you're protecting other women by doing that. When you don't do that, that means the person, the predator, gets to run around freely. They said Gabriella crashed out after Shannon's accidental S-tape went live, and that's why she's suing. The one with Michelle. Shannon doesn't prefer Black women based on his history. Now, his kids are with the Black lady, so he talks about that sometimes. But I mean, those kids are also grown. I think they're like 30. It says also, we have to remember she's very young, probably influenced by her attorney not to file legal charges. I would firmly. Now, it said she was 19 when she started dealing with him. Now, per these text messages, we'll say that start was in 23. That's 2 years ago. So that would give her 19, 20, 21. She'd be about 21. I think we also can talk about men, these men out here. When you are 52 or however old he is, he's definitely in his 50s, and you're messing with 19-year-olds, all the foolishness, all the goofy stuff that that you fall into, I don't feel sorry for you. Oh, poor thing. Yeah. See, that's why I don't want to do that. Love Tisa, but I don't know. I like to be accurate. And I went to law school, so I like to quote the law accurately too. So let's see. It says exactly when she told him she was setting him up the first text, but this shows you how dumb and stupid, how goofy and slow. Right. Like a 19-year-old will be like, yeah, put this big Black baby in me. I'll probably live a rich life from that. Absolutely not. It says she is not like me, girl. She might be the girl with the purple hair. Oh, no. The girl with the purple hair, that's Kelly Osbourne. No, there's no way he took that idiot on a red carpet. Yeah, somebody said simply Sydney said it's probably her though. She probably just said that because she don't want to be bothered. I don't blame her. I do not blame her. That's why I want to get a copy of the petition, because it's going to say what state that Jane Doe is from, or it would say Canada. Now, if it says she's from Canada, then we know Tisa was right. That was in fact the young lady, because she done put up there, it's not me, I'm from Canada. It's going to be hard to find her pics. That name is very common. Agreed. Yeah, Shannon, this is a mess. Yep, don't feel sorry for let me tell you something. Yeah, Leslie agreed. She is Hispanic, and that's why she keeps talking about putting that big baby in you. When you are 56 years old, messing with a 21-year-old, this is the foolishness that you walk into. This right here. This is the goofy things you set your butt up for. This right here. Straight up foolishness. Yeah, way too young for him. Today is a bad Kenny said, today is a bad day. Wait, Kenny said today's a bad day to be named Gabrielle Zaniga, and Missing 411 said, Club Gay. Y'all got me being ignorant over here. Shannon is goofy though. He has a lot going on. Look, you cannot Shannon, you cannot afford to be messing around with goofy people like this. You got to be messing with girls who have as much to lose as you do. Go get you some 30-year-old influencers, okay? Get something appropriate like that. But you running around with a 19-year-old, of course she's going to blackmail you. She probably don't even know what blackmail is. She didn't even know how to price herself. She said $25,000 per cheek. That's only $50,000 a year. She don't even know. She's probably never had gainful employment. She's probably never seen a W-2 in her lifetime. Goodness gracious. Just go on and get you like one of them Get you one of those influencers, maybe one of those little camera girls, somebody like that. But this ain't it. This is not it. P Keys is filling away saying he outed this young girl. Wow. Now we will have to stay tuned. We'll have to see what is the judge going to say in this case. So what has to happen next is this. Shannon Sharpe is going to respond to the lawsuit. He's going to file what's called an answer. And I anticipate after he does that, that Tony Busby is going to file some type of motion to ask the court to sanction him for referencing her name publicly, and is also probably going to file a motion to get permission from the court to allow her to continue to proceed as a Jane Doe. Oh, Simply Sydney said it. Make them sign NDAs and limit the kinky stuff. Yeah, you can't afford to be choking people. You are a big old black man. You're a big black millionaire. Can't be choking these little girls. Can't do it. Well, that's all I've got for today, guys. This is today's episode of Girl Is That Legal. If you are joining us late, roll it on back. You want to see that I talk about Kanye West and how the statute of limitations has not expired and he can absolutely go to jail for assault on his younger sibling and could also be sued for millions in civil court for this. And I also talk about the wrap up of the Shannon Sharpe situation. Make sure also, if you've got a real estate closing in the state of Texas, go to my website, experiencetitleLLC.com. We'd love to help you close your real estate deal. Thank you all. I'll see you later this week. Let me know down in the comments below what other topics you'd like me to cover this week. I'm your legal bestie, Attorney Simone.